Emily Zeig-Lindsay, the pastor at Fairview Presbyterian Church. On Monday, July 10th, 2023, a team of 13 from our church departed for an 8-day mission trip to Belize. The team included church members and former youth group members who are all excited to deepen our ongoing relationship with our two partners in Belize, the school, Cushlan Ha, and the nonprofit, Pathlight. Cushlan Ha is a primary school in Belmopan, Belize, teaching students in kindergarten through 8th grade. Pathlight empowers children in Belize to receive a quality education, break free from poverty, and reach their God-given potential.
My name is Jake Tobolewski, and I've had the privilege of being part of Fairview Presbyterian Church's Belizean partnership for the last 10 years. I'd like to give a really brief history of the partnership to give some context to how this latest trip came to be. In 2013, a team of 31 people from Fairview Presbyterian Church went to Belize. And all sorts of different things kind of happened on that trip. A portion of the team set up a makeshift eye clinic in a village surrounding Belmopan. Another part of the team worked at the public hospital in Belmopan, doing some roofing repairs, interior and exterior painting, and cleanup of the grounds. And yet another portion of our team set up a vacation Bible school style day at Cushlan Ha Government School and interacted with scores of children from the Maya Mopan community. It was here at Cushlan Ha where the partnership in Belize really started to take shape. We had the opportunity to interact with teachers at Cushlan Ha who were in their very last week of the very busy school year, but were so incredibly gracious to us. Their incredible passion resonated with many members of our team, and we felt called to cultivate this relationship. So, in 2014, a team of 5 members of the church returned to Belize to build relationships with Cushlan Ha and begin to sort out how to effectively handle the logistics of a long-term international mission project. It was on this trip that we first began working with Pathlight International, a nonprofit organization that was focused on education in the same area of Belize that we were working in. In 2016, another small team of church members left for Belize, but were thwarted by a hurricane and had to turn back after reaching Atlanta. Not wanting to lose the opportunity, we were able to fly Charlene, the principal of Cushlan Ha, and another teacher, Maria, to Fairview. And we learned so much more about Cushlan Ha's vision for the future and their desire to really become a community school. In 2018, we partnered with Pathlight once again, taking a team of youth and youth leaders. During our time in Belize in 2018, the group worked in 2 teams. One team worked at Cushlan Ha, replacing floorboards and railings and doing some painting work. And the other team worked at St. Michael's School in the village of Las Flores, working on a new classroom building. And that's a very brief history about how Fairview Presbyterian Church, Cushlan Ha Government School, and Pathlight International have become partners in this long-term project for our church.
In order to understand Fairview Presbyterian's involvement in mission work in Belize, it is first important to understand the unique demographic challenges that the country faces. Belize is a small Central American country about the size of Massachusetts. It is bordered by Mexico and Guatemala. Its capital is Belmopan, and its largest city is Belize City, which is located on the coast. Because of its proximity to the Caribbean Sea, the second largest barrier reef in the world, and ancient Mayan ruins, most Americans are familiar with Belize because of its association with the tourism industry. In fact, tourism is the #1 contributor of foreign money in the country. Economically, Belize faces many challenges. Its per capita GDP is very low. In 2018, it was $7,300 a year, but after the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, it dropped to $6,100. While the overall unemployment stands at about 9.5%, this is much higher for those between the ages of 15 and 24. 19% of people in that age bracket are unemployed, and the number skyrockets to 28.5% for women. Overall, 41% of Belizeans live below the poverty line. Statistically speaking, Belize is a very young country. Over 50% of the population is below the age of 24, and the median age is just 22. While education is free and compulsory from the ages of 6 to 14, High school students must pay tuition to continue their education. As a result, 23% of Belizeans over the age of 15 cannot read or write. The average age at which a Belizean leaves school is just 13 years old. We hope that our partnership with Pathlight International and our work with schools in Belize will enable more young Belizeans to pursue their education and to empower them to help improve their nation.
On July 10th, 2023, a team of 13 people representing Fairview Presbyterian Church departed for the Pittsburgh airport with our hearts full of joy and anticipation for the week to come. We carried with us 16 suitcases full of school supplies, tools, and vacation Bible school supplies to give to our partners in Belize. After a layover at the Miami airport, we flew to the Belize International Airport in Belize City, where we were greeted by our Pathlight partners, including our new friends, Jem McGaw and Jovan Hamilton, and an old friend, Tono Bull, who we worked with in 2018. We also met independent missionaries Becky and Sam Barber, who work with Pathlight part-time. We traveled to the Pathlight offices in Belize City, where we were greeted by Dion Rodriguez, who leads that office, as well as the Pathlight's new leadership program, and several Pathlight students, including Leonie, who at Fairview Presbyterian Church has had the privilege of sponsoring financially through high school. We enjoyed lunch and conversation with the students, and we enjoyed learning about Pathlight's mission in Belize as well. And we were especially grateful to have the opportunity to meet Leonie in person. After lunch, we were given a driving tour of Belize City, learning about the discrepancy between the modern, more economically affluent north side of the city and the very impoverished south side. The striking contrast, as well as learning about the crime and everyday struggles of the residents on the south side of the city, were particularly impactful to many of our team members. After the tour, we drove inland across Belize to Belmopan and on to Jaguar Creek, our lodging accommodations for the trip. Jaguar Creek started as an ecological refuge in the jungle and has grown into a secluded destination for tourists and corporate and also mission groups like ours. The environment, the accommodations, and the sounds of the jungle all allowed for the team as a whole, as well as each individual, to embrace a week of spiritual renewal and growth.
Jaguar Creek is an American-built resort with, I believe, 12 or 13 gorgeous and comfortable cabanas, and the staff provided us with the most delicious meals every day. Now, Jaguar Creek is quite literally located in the middle of the jungle, and couple that with all of the warnings we got about the poisonous snakes and not wanting to step off the boardwalks at night, I was a little apprehensive going into the trip. But the entire week, I felt completely comfortable and at ease, and at times it was even easy to forget that I was in the middle of the jungle, despite all of the evidence around me. Now, Jaguar Creek's location was very impactful to me because due to there not being any service for the week, it forced me to take a step back and take a break from my everyday society, aside from the people who were physically there with me on the trip. That break and that lack of technology allowed me to really take everything in and appreciate the things around me, which is something that I don't do every day and that I don't think a lot of people do every day. Jaguar Creek also provided us with a relaxing, comfortable, clean, and safe place for us to recharge every night in order to serve in the best way that we could every single day.
Cushland Haw is a primary school covering what equates to preschool through 8th grade here in the States. It has grown into the largest primary school in the region. Due to the intense weather conditions in Belize and how the buildings were originally constructed by the Belizean government, there is a lot of work that needs to be done at the school all the time. We were anxious to get our hands dirty and get to the work project part of the trip at Cushland Haw. Throughout the week, we poured several hundred feet of concrete to create a sidewalk for the children. The area where the sidewalk was made floods consistently in the rainy season, and it was a great desire of the principal, Charlene, and her staff to be able to get the students up and out of the mud and the water. Our team worked seamlessly and selflessly in the heat, truly coming together as a team to mix, pour, and finish somewhere in the neighborhood of 490 wheelbarrow loads of concrete. We also enlisted the help of a skilled laborer and our friend, Lazarus Pop, of the neighboring village of Armenia. Lazarus, the Pathlight students, who were Jaden, Isaiah, and Jamal, the rest of the Pathlight team, the staff from Cushland Hall, and our team all grew very close working together at Cushland Hall. Additionally, we were also able to repair the porches of the adjacent classroom buildings to the sidewalk we were making. And these porches had deteriorated to the point that the classrooms could not be used due to student safety concerns. The Cushland Hall staff were extremely grateful to be able to put those classrooms back in use for next year for their 800 students to use.
Working with the team at Cushland Hall surpassed any of the expectations that I had going into this trip. Jake and I were both fortunate enough to have pretty decent relationships with most of the people who were going on this trip. But what actually happened when we went out to the work site and came together just absolutely astounded me. I saw sides of these young men and women that I've never seen in half a decade of working with them. And then to see them communicate with each other, to step up, to look out for each other. We sat at that work site and watched kids hand each other bottles of water and wordlessly step in as soon as they saw somebody else needed their help. A good portion of our time at Cushland Hall involved laying concrete, which meant that there was a concrete mixer going for 2 straight hours, and none of us could shout over it. And so it really became an exercise in watching our peers and seeing this is the moment that this person needs to come out and I'm going to step in. And it was so seamless. This is not normally the way that I talk, but it felt so much like God was at work in every single one of us to make sure that we were there for each other and supporting each other. The best part was then seeing that cohesiveness come back every night and watch all of these people who come from very different walks of life and very different backgrounds gather together at dinner and around a fire just to talk and debrief from their day and form really, really wonderful relationships.
Hi everybody, my name is Jeff Sanner. I was one of the members of the recent Fairview Presbyterian Church Belizean trip. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about the Belizeans that we met on our trip. The 3 that really impacted my life while I was down there, one was named Tono, another was named Lazarus, and then a third was named Jovan. And Jovan was our driver for the week. He also described a little bit of what life was like in Belize. He took us to several of his favorite ice cream shops. He tried to give us a full Belizean experience, a cultural experience while we were there. Tono was the foreman of our group. He helped us build the sidewalk, concrete sidewalk. He also helped to get the wood for our porch projects. He also spent a lot of time with me going back and forth to the lumber yard, and we were able to discuss his family life, what it was like to live in Belize during COVID, which was a very challenging time in everybody's lives down there. Then there was also Lazarus, and Lazarus was like just a fun-loving guy who was trying to make an impact in this world. He has a family of his own that ranges from a very young child all the way up to like a 21-year-old. He works doing jobs here and there in construction, and has a wife that does a lot of wonderful craft projects that we were able to purchase along the way. They are a group of guys who really have a love for helping people, and they're working through Pathlight to make a difference.
Throughout the week, our team had the ability to take turns while we were at Cushland Hall to do a walking tour through the Maya Mopon village with a Cushland Hall teacher, Melanie. We had the opportunity to see close up the residents and their homes, and to some extent the challenges that these residents face, and also had the opportunity to interact with members of the community. Throughout the week, many of our team reflected and said that this walking tour was one of the most impactful parts of the week for them.
Walking through the Mayamapan village that we were working in, and that was surrounding the Cookson Hall School, was a really good opportunity. Being able to sort of see deeper into the lives of the people rather than just driving through, which is what we were used to. It was a very good experience. We got a little more information about how people live and lack of government support for people's homes. So a lot of things weren't up to code, and a lot of things were, things that we would consider dangerous living situations for, people to live in. But these are people's homes, which is one of the things that I took home, is that people live in situations like that and they don't have the comfort and sustainability that we have here at home. Another interesting thing going off of that was that those people were infinitely more happy and joyful than I've seen people even in the States. So that was also a thing to think about, thinking about how people live such different lives than us in ways that we would say were unsafe or unsanitary, and, looking in through people's backyards and seeing people laugh with their family and playing with their animals and just hanging out in hammocks was a really good experience, because it gave me kind of something to go home and think about. I live in a comfortable home and in a comfortable neighborhood, and people are living just south of the border in areas that we would consider like shanty shacks, but they're infinitely more happy and joyful and grateful, and just gave me something to think about.
One of the other opportunities we had was to do an afternoon of vacation Bible school style activities at Cushland Hall with the children that live near the school. We had about 70 very enthusiastic children come and spend the afternoon with us. We rotated the children through different stations of face painting, which ended up with the children painting our team members' faces at the end of the day. A soccer station. Soccer was a common bond between the children and the young adults throughout the week. And a Bible story and songs activity led by Pastor Emily.
So playing soccer with the Vacation Bible School kids was actually really fun, and I really enjoyed it. We did like mini games, and they all played soccer, and we did some like soccer drills and everything. And I just learned a lot from it as well, and it was just very fun. But at the end, something that did impact me really big was that we gave away the soccer balls at the end. And so when the kids started to find out that we were giving the soccer balls away, a lot of them ran up to me and was like, "Hey, can I have one?" And it was very sad to see just like when we ran out of soccer balls and that we couldn't give every single kid one away. And that definitely made a huge impact on me, just because it made me feel very, a little upset.
Interacting with the kids at Vacation Bible School was actually very challenging. I don't normally work with little kids, so there was a communication barrier because I don't understand little kid gibberish sometimes, but also because they speak so many different languages, their English wasn't always clear enough for me to understand. So when I was face painting, it was sometimes hard to control them because they were just in a swarm around me, so eager and excited to get their face painted. But you knew that in the midst of that absolute chaos, they were so excited to just be around one another and be around us, that were being examples for them. And it was very neat at the end that they wanted to face paint some of our team because they were so happy of the gift that we gave them that they wanted to give it back to us. And it was just a very neat experience of VBS altogether.
Throughout the week, we had the opportunity to learn a lot more about the Pathlight organization's mission of trying to truly change the culture of a nation by educating young people academically, emotionally, and spiritually. We had the opportunity to hear from many Pathlight students throughout the week, including, as we said earlier, Leonie, who we've had the opportunity to sponsor as a church for the last few years. Three young men worked alongside us all week, and we were able to connect with Jamal, Jaden, and Isaiah throughout the week. And it was a privilege to be a small part of their journey, as they were a very large part of ours.
Working with the students from Pathlight every day really helped me embed myself in the community. It helped me establish that connection to Belmopan and Belize that I wouldn't have gotten otherwise if I had just worked at the school.
Having the opportunity to travel to Belize and meet and get to work with some of the teachers, students, and staff members at Cushlan Hall will really be something that will stay with me, not just as an educator, but just in everyday life. Especially when it comes to learning about the opportunities that female students have after they finish primary school and the lack of opportunities, essentially. I found it very interesting to learn that basically, if a student's family does not have the financial means to pay for high school, they really don't have the opportunity to attend. It was great to hear the opportunities Pathlight does provide to students and get to sit down and listen to the stories of female students specifically and listen to their future plans, how Pathlight has helped them, and just listen to their backgrounds and learn about everyday life. It was definitely inspiring, and I look forward to continuing to work with these students.
Hello, my name is Dan Payton. Was learning and understanding the different cultures and ethnic groups within Belize. Belize is a very diverse country, but it was very refreshing seeing all these different ethnic groups working and coexisting together. And lastly, building a sense of community, not just with the people of Belize that we worked with, but also the group that we brought from Fairview Presbyterian Church. The group had many different age groups, had many different walks of life. But we were all able to work together flawlessly, and were able to accomplish all the goals that we set out. And that's what made my Belize mission trip so meaningful.
My biggest takeaway from traveling to Belize is that material goods do not make a person or determine a person's worth. Compared to the average U.S. citizen, the people living in Belize had very little. And despite all of that and how little they had, they still had way more to give and were much more welcoming than most people from the U.S. interact with on a daily basis. Personally, I learned about how important and how gratifying it is to help others. Providing work in Belize and helping build down there really opened my eyes to how impactful a single person can be. One set of helping hands can really make a huge difference. And really, I learned personally how important it is to help others and provide whatever skills you may have.
As a staff member for Pathlight International, I had the privilege of hosting the Fairview team for their week-long missions trip to Belize. One thing about this team that I got to witness on a daily basis was their love for Christ and their love for others. It didn't matter if we were mixing cement on a 100+ degree day to pour concrete for the sidewalks at Cushlan High School, or if we were walking through the village to invite the kids to our VBS program, or simply building relationships with the staff and students from Pathlight. That love for Christ and for others was on full display. One reason that I really appreciate this team is that they are now ambassadors for Pathlight, because they'll take Pathlight with them wherever they go and in the stories they tell. And that value is immeasurable.
Our team has returned re-energized for Fairview Presbyterian's ongoing partnership with both Cushlan High and Pathlight. As we deepen relationships with teachers, students, mentors, and staff, we have gained a better understanding of the challenges facing the educational system in Belize and the best way that we can support the incredible teachers and students in their hard work. As a congregation, we support one particular student, Liani. We started supporting her 3 years ago as she began high school. We were able to meet her on our trip and spend time with her, listening to her share about her life and hopes and dreams. As she starts her senior year of high school this fall, we will continue our support as she works towards graduation and pursuing her dream of becoming a medical examiner or surgeon. While we support the good work being done in Belize, our partnership also helps us deepen our own life of discipleship as we learn from faithful Christians living in another part of the world about what it means for them to follow Christ wholeheartedly. This partnership expands our worldview and reminds us of the ways God is active throughout the world. It can also inspire us to continually be looking for ways for us to best serve God right here in our community in Fairview.